I spent the whole day coloring in my coloring book so I could conserve my energy to do more channeling for you all. Normally when I channel, it gives me a lot of energy at the moment, but it also takes a lot of energy out of me. So I always need to make sure like I take care of myself during the day. So we're going to get started very quickly and invite the guys to come in and share more interesting things. Hopefully they're not going to be rude today, so I won't have to cringe. Okay, so we're very excited to join you all as we complete our third day with you. Although we would not say this is our completion in terms of channeling through Solera and channeling the work for all of you, because you have to recognize that you end up here not really by accident. You end up here because it was almost arranged for you. So it was not that you randomly bumped into an opportunity and you somehow just landed here and you have no idea why you're here. Okay, your soul is really clear as to why you're here, because we invited everybody to the party. So we're so happy that you're at the party with us. Now, so let us clarify the things that we have taught you so far. Okay, not only are you here to expand your greatest vision of who you are, you're also here to execute that. By executing, you're really here to expand the global work that you're here to do. What do we mean by global work? So global work simply means, okay, that your work is not just for you. The work that you're here to do is not just for this little self, okay, the little self meaning just the egoic self that you are here to, you know, this is like the body, okay, you just carry yourself, you eat, right, you wake up and you go to work and you do whatever it is that you feel like you have to do. But your work, meaning the essence of who you are, is meant to be shared with really everyone on a global scale. Okay, really to be shared with everyone who is here, who's meant to play a bigger role. So it is very important that you understand why you do what you do. It's very important that you also are clear about your own personal mission in this life. When we say your own personal mission, we do not mean, oh, I am a graphic designer and that's my job, and my role is to help women create, let's say, beautiful websites. That's a role that you can play in life. But your mission is something that is greater. Okay, it's almost like you will have a bird's eye view over why you do what you do. So it is not just, oh, I think I'm doing this work because, okay, I'm gonna need to earn money and then I'm gonna help a little bit of people. Okay, we want to think even further. Why did I choose this life, right? Why do I have the family that I have? Why do I have the work that I have? Why do I have the lifestyle that I have? Because everything is related to each other. Okay, things are not happening because they are random. Just like we said, you're not here because it's by random chance that you're here. Okay, you're here because you're here to expand all of your essence out into the world. So we hope that these past couple of days have made that really clear, and also we have given you a direct path to really help you understand what you're here to create in this world. So now today we're going to really cover what the theme of this masterclass is all about, right? We wanted to really share what the word entelechy is with you in both of our sort of pre-masterclass video series as well as here today. What are you really here to experience in terms of the fullest potential of who you are? Okay, so we want to make that topic super clear, that today you're going to be able to walk away and understand, okay, this is going to be the next level of who I am. This is going to be the greatest version of who I am. This is going to be sort of the next arena that I'm going to enter. Okay, so let's let's paint a couple of pictures. You think of the picture that you are today. Okay, I am doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. And maybe you're already fairly successful in the work that you're doing. Maybe you already have a beautiful family. Maybe you already have a good and healthy body. So maybe all these sort of fundamental things, you say, okay, I have this, and I have this, and I have this, and I have this. And this is a picture currently of myself that I think of as myself, my identity. Okay, when we say that, you can already think of all these things, what you see in front of you, right? The people that you see yourself with. Then we're going to put that picture over here. Okay, we're going to move that painting over here. Then what we want you to do today is to paint another picture. You're going to paint another version of you, right? Who is this version of you that you would like to become? So start to paint that picture. And we want that picture to be very vivid in your mind. Okay, you don't have to be a good painter to paint this picture because you don't need to use colors. You just need to paint it in your own mind. So a lot of times people teach you to do vision board. Yes, you've heard that many times. So it's like, oh, get a poster board and cut out magazine pictures and stick them on the board. Well, that's a lovely art project that you can do on a Sunday afternoon. What is really important is that you etch the image that you want to see in the future in your mind, in your conscious mind. And then it's etched so deeply that it becomes part of your subconscious. Okay. So is it helpful to, get a big poster board and cut out, magazine pictures and paste them? It's fine if you want a little art project, and if you can consistently utilize the new vision board and look at it and study it and meditate on it every day, that's great. That's a nice visual aid. But the visual that you really need to create needs to be, it's like, imagine you're just etching, and there's like a board in your mind. You're going to etch that picture into your mind. Okay, so the poster board cannot just exist like outside, like in a physical poster board. We want you to create that here really clearly. Okay, so let's just choose one aspect of life. Remember, there are many aspects. We've talked about this already. Yes, many different aspects of life. So you start with one. This ideal of who I want to become is like a pizza, like it's a slice of pizza. So let's say you want to have a greater vitality in your body. You want to be more flexible. You want to be stronger. You want to run faster. You want to jump higher. Whatever it is that you want for your physical body, you're like, this is the ideal, what I would really like. So this is not hard homework. This is not difficult homework, okay? You just have to sort of think about it. What would I really love to have if I wasn't limited? If I wasn't limited by what I think my body can do? Because when we even just the body, okay, we haven't even gone into like the harder topics, like love and money. So you're like, the body, oh, but I'm already really old. Like there's just some things I can't do. I'm not gonna be able to like do a split. Let's say, okay, you think that in your mind. Remember, we taught you this. Don't ask the question from the perspective of being limited. Ask the question from the perspective of, what if this is possible? I just don't know how yet. Okay, so if you want to do a split, okay, by all means, you can practice. So that would be one. It's like a little, you would paint that corner, okay? Remember, there's a big board in your mind. You're going to paint this corner that says, this is the healthy version of who I am. Then you're going to move on to another section of the painting. Maybe this time you want to paint a very interesting career that you want to have with lots of fun people that you're working with. Okay, so then you paint that picture. What time do you want to wake up? Do you want to have your own business? Would you like to work for someone else? What would be your work schedule like? When is your lunch hour? When do you get off work? Paint that picture. Remember, it's not just it's not quite the same as using a physical poster board and then just sticking magazine photos onto it. Okay, because when you're etching the photo into your own mind, it should help you feel a certain way. For some people like Solera, she hates to get up early. It's very hard for her. She'll do it if it's necessary. So when she used to imagine working, getting up really late, she's like, oh, that's just so nice. I love to just roll around in my bed at 10 a.m. Okay? Because she used to have a job that required her to wake up at 4 a.m. every day. And she had to be at work at 6 a.m. every day. Okay? So you have to decide when you think of, maybe you're like the opposite, right? Let's say you're like an early bird. You like to get up at 4 a.m. You feel, so nice when I wake up early. There's like nobody around me and everything is quiet. I just love how nice it is and no one's bothering me. It makes you feel good, right? It's a sliver of your life. So we want the tiniest thing to be etched into your mind. Like, this is a really minor thing, but I would really like that if I could. Remember, the universe does not judge whether it's like you want to be the next billionaire or you want to, want to become a mother in the next year. There's no difference, okay, in terms of how hard it is for the universe, but it's hard for you. You would think one is harder than the other. So you need to etch that. Let's say you someday want to become a mother, or you already a mother. What is your relationship with your children like, right? What would be the happy moments? Instead of the kids screaming around in the house, kicking each other, maybe you will have a nicer version of that in your mind. So we want to paint that picture. I wake up in the morning and the kids are happy. I give them their cereal, and they're playing with each other. Make it so clear. You see, the problem with most people is you have a lot of things that you want, but you don't really know how you want to feel once you have them. You just think, oh, that'd be so nice if I have like $10 million in my bank account. That would be really nice. And you think that once you have it, then you're going to be extra happy. So you have to really refine. We're teaching you the specifics today. We want you to really refine the feeling around each minor detail. Okay? It's like, sometimes Solera is so happy when she gets her nails done. She's like, they're so sparkly. And then she just spends like quite a long time looking at them because they make her feel good. It's a very small aspect of life. Yes, it's not really make or break, but it's something that is interesting, that gives her good feelings. So maybe the future self would go to the nail salon once a week and get pampered over there. It's a very minor detail. But we want you to have the minor details. Sometimes you guys think about things that are very grandiose, and you get very stressed out about not having achieved the grandiose goal. Oh, you know what? I need to have like the $1 million cash in my bank account, right? And then you feel like, oh, how come I'm not achieving it? I'm not achieving it, and you feel that sense of stress, and it's not really necessary. So we want you to really do the opposite. Is instead of kind of obsessing over the really hard things, hard based on your opinion, okay, very difficult, you say that's really difficult, think of some of these really minor things that are not really that difficult, right? Getting a manicure and pedicure is not difficult. Maybe having the time on a Sunday afternoon to read a book is not that difficult. Okay, even if you have children, maybe you can make sure the babysitter comes. Just make sure that the things that you desire, the minor details, okay, because remember, life is made up of a lot of minor details. Actually, it's not what you think is this grand gesture. I am a mother now, and I am this person now, and I'm so important. I'm like, doing this big mission, which is what people think. Right? People think when they think of purpose or potential or meaning, they think of these like grandiose things, which is very nice. It's fine. Okay, it's totally fine if you have a great vision of yourself, but the vision is still made up of a lot of minor details, right? So we almost want you to do the opposite. Instead of kind of write down what is your biggest goal for next year, it's like, what is something really minor that you can change? Remember, we taught you how to write a fun list. Yeah, instead of a to-do list, instead of a grocery list, you're gonna write a fun list. So, but fill it even more in terms of the tiniest, most minuscule thing. What kind of cup you want to use, right? Maybe you want to buy yourself a new desk lamp. Just things that are not make or break, things that are not super important. They're not going to stress you out, okay? It's always easier to approach life just by shifting tiny, minor details. But here's the thing, if you work on just one tiny detail, even just once a week, we're not even asking you to do that once a day, but let's say you just do it once a week. And after a year, that's 52 weeks, yes? You will have 52 things in your life changed for the better. That's a lot of things. If you add all those minor things together, wouldn't you think that your life will start to move in the direction that you want? Because now all of a sudden, there are 52 things, let's say, in the house and your lifestyle, they're different, they are better, they are an upgraded version of who you want to be, yes? But they're minor, they don't seem important at the beginning. But the things that you don't think are important, those are the little things that make up to become the great thing, the big giant thing that you think you need to create. So we're kind of teaching you a process to reverse that thinking. Instead of feeling really overwhelmed by, oh, my next big goal is I'm going to reach this level of income and I'm going to have this thing done in my life and I'm going to get married and this and this and this. And you're climbing and you're climbing and you're climbing. Okay, we say stop trying to climb. Just look at what's right in front of you. And you say, you know what? I want to change and get myself a new set of sheets tomorrow. They're just getting old and I don't like them. And maybe there's some things that don't require money. Let's say, oh, but right now I can't afford a new set of sheets. I say, okay, that's fine. But what is a lifestyle change that you can make? Maybe you can add one more dish of vegetables if you want to improve your health. Right? Just to swap out some of the stuff that you eat. Just make it really tiny. Let's say you want to be more flexible. Then do some stretching in the morning. You want to run? Okay, then go run for 20 minutes. Nothing has to be dramatic. Okay, this is what we're trying to tell you. You have a lot of drama in your life. Everyone has some kind of drama, a little bit of drama with work, a little bit of drama with the family, a little bit of drama with your friends, whatever. There's always a little bit of drama. Some people have big drama, some people have little drama, but it's all the same. And it's like you feel like you got to go fix them. But remember what we said yesterday, it's not about fixing anything. Okay? It's just that, oh, I would really like this instead. I would really like this kind of lifestyle instead. Maybe instead of waking up at 7 a.m., you want to wake up at 8 a.m. Or maybe instead of waking up at 7 a.m., you want to wake up at 6 a.m. It's a very minor shift. But it should be a shift that is, this is my preference. And so I'm going to choose that and I'm going to give my permission to choose that. Give myself permission to choose that. Right? So if you work on one minor detail a week, you will have 52 things done by the end of the year. And if you're a really good student, you get 2 minor things done a week. That's like over 100 items in a year. It's a lot of changes, but they're minor. So when you do it, you don't get triggered. When you do it, they feel, okay, it's not really a big deal. Life is not so grandiose, okay? Yes, on TV, always looks so grandiose, okay? Everything looks extra grandiose on TV or on social media, but life is not grandiose in that way. Yes, when you look at the universe and you look out into the sky and you realize actually you're just a stardust, tiny little particle in comparison to like the grand scheme of the universe, yes? But your life is still, remember, you are an expression okay, for the universe. It's like God is living through you. So go out and do the things you want. Choose, right? Have preferences, but start really minor. Start with the really minor things. And you'll find, okay, the minor things will elevate you, elevate you, elevate you, and elevate you. So it's not just like linear line, right? At school, you learn these things. There's a graph, okay? You have your x-axis, your y-axis, and then if you just add 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, the line just goes up, right? Kind of straight line. But what we're teaching you is more like what you would consider as a compound effect. The graph should go like this. It goes up. It curves up really quickly. It's not a straight line. Like at first it seems like really slow. There's nothing's happening. But then it goes up and it goes up. And then it goes up really quickly. Okay. This is what you're striving for, is what you would call like the overnight success or miracles and all this stuff. Yeah. So, but it's almost like you can't create your own miracles. Okay. You follow that graph and it goes out like this. It curves up exponentially. Now it's not 1 plus 1 equals 2. Right? It's not that you do one thing plus one thing plus one thing, you add them all up, and if you do it twice a week, you add up 100. It's more than 100. The effect of it, the compound effect of it, is more than 100. Okay, what we're talking about is that positivity, that higher level of vibration. It's not just 1 plus 1. It goes up fast. Right? Everyone wants fast results. Everyone wants quantum leaps and the collapse time. We're teaching you how to do that right now. It's just that you don't think that's how it works. You think, oh, but that's so slow. I want like the really big dramatic thing. Like I want to have lots of money filled up into my bank account right away. And I want like my lover to show up tomorrow, you know, knocking on my door with flowers and chocolate and presents ready. Okay. This is what you think. Like in your imagination, if the world was completely up to you, that's what you would want. Yeah? Well, the world is up to you. But if you cannot, it's almost like if you cannot show the universe that I'm going to honor, listen to that word carefully, I'm going to honor my own preferences. It doesn't matter how big or how small. And I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to honor myself. And I do this, and I do this, and I change this, and I improve this. And you have fun along the way. Now, when the opportunity arises for the big ticket item, okay, now the lover shows up at your door, okay, with flowers ready and presents in hand and chocolate. You've become the person you wanted to become. Do you understand? You're like, oh, that's so nice of you. You're just so ready. You're like, oh, of course you will show up, because you're ready. You've become the person you really wanted to be. And when the lover shows up, you're like, oh, hello. And there's no attachment to it, because you're like, oh, it's just one more thing I'm manifesting. Easy peasy. Really, you would not think it's such a big deal. But let's say if today you're not quite in the place you want to be in yet, and then the perfect lover shows up, then what happens is all these insecurities get triggered, right? And then you're like, oh, am I gonna be good enough? Oh, I want to make sure that, you know, this is gonna be a good relationship. You're not quite ready. You're not a match. Does that make sense? Not that we're not saying, oh, you're not pretty enough, or you're actually not good enough. It's not that you're not good enough. It's just that you don't feel that you're ready within. So what really matters is how you feel about yourself inside. It's not about what we think about you, or what your parents think about you, or what your friends think about you. It's what you think about you. Okay. So we want you to fine-tune your vibration. Do you understand? We want you to fine-tune that. Okay. And by fine-tuning, it's not through dramatic gestures. Like, now I'm going to become a morning person. It's, if you're not a morning person, it's like, don't make yourself. Okay. No one needs to be a morning person to be successful, and just, you know, vice versa. So it's not some grandiose gesture that you have to make. It just, I'm gonna make micro shift, micro shift, micro shift, micro shift, and micro shift. And then you start to replace, whether it's physical items, you know, in your house, or it's certain things like that you're doing, or it could be even certain people in your life. Maybe some friends you just have to let them go. Bye. It's not to say, oh, you're being mean to them. It just, some people are just no longer in alignment. They're not the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with. So do you really want to keep them around? So there's going to be some things, okay, in this long list of micro shifts that you're like, oh, I don't know. I feel bad. I don't want to change that. But then you have to ask yourself, is the version, the greatest version that I'm becoming, will he or she accept this, whatever this is, okay, an item, a situation, a person, blah, blah. Will the greatest version of me accept this and want to deal with this and want to spend time with this? You want to go through those questions in your mind. Will myself over here accept this? Right now, I'm accepting it. The current version of who I am, I'm accepting it. But when I'm over here and I become that greatest version of myself, do I still want to accept that? You see, this is not a question that we can answer. Do you understand? It's a question for you to answer. So you need to answer that. Okay. What do I really allow and what do I not allow? And it's not about boundaries. Okay? This is not a boundary class. That's like a totally different class. It's just, what's my preference? And can I honor my preference? And then start to bring in the things that you say you desire. I honor myself and my preferences, so I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to experience that. I'm going to buy that, whatever it is, whatever the next action step is. Okay, so don't make it a big deal. Make it a small deal. Every day should just be a small deal. Does that make sense? It's so tiny, you're like, okay, it's just a tiny thing. It's just a tiny thing. Then the tiny thing, just like the expression, it has the snowball effect, right? Then it gets bigger and gets bigger, and then your life starts to speed up all of a sudden. Remember how that exponential curve, we know not everybody studied math very hard when you're in school, but the math goes very slowly at first, yes? And then it hits that critical point. It starts to curve up, curve up, curve up, curve up. Now all of a sudden it becomes a straight line going up. So sometimes when you see people on television who have overnight success, what you're seeing is like not this bottom part of the curve, okay? What you're seeing is like the tippy part as they shoot up to become the next star, like on TV or whatever, right? You just didn't see them when they were struggling, let's say in acting school, or struggling, you know, in their first job, or struggling, you know, trying to raise your children at the beginning, like over here, down here. Okay, you don't know them. You didn't know them back then. They were a nobody back then, yes? So it's unrealistic when you want to compare yourself to like a grandiose version of someone else. Because all you saw is like the tail end of the graph, okay? So remember that. Next time when you want to compare yourself to somebody, just remember that, okay? But you say, oh, but that person is like younger than me and they're already, you know, doing all these things. But you can't really compare, okay? You really can't compare because maybe they had a really tough childhood at the beginning at the beginning of that graph. It's like they've mastered a lot of lessons, maybe from age 0 to 20. That's what they needed. A really strong contrast, a really difficult environment. It's like, would you want to have that? Maybe not. Maybe you wouldn't want the tough beginning that they had. Maybe they were just, you know, eating ramen noodles in their car, okay? But maybe you wouldn't want that. So just be clear in your mind, okay, Doesn't matter what other people's journeys are. It's none of your business. Your journey is your journey. Your timing is your timing. And it's something that you will need to regularly remind yourself. It's almost like, remember, put a sticky note on your forehead when it's necessary. Their timing is their timing. My timing is my timing. Their journey is their journey. My journey is my journey. Their preferences are their preferences. My preferences are my preferences. And let us say it this way, when you can truly honor your preferences, it will be easier for you to accept other people's preferences. Maybe let's say you're in a relationship and they act in a certain way. You don't like it. You think it's really annoying. But it's their preferences. As you learn to really honor your own preferences, actually you'll be less judgmental of other people's preferences. Okay? Maybe some people speak in a certain way. They're loud and you don't like it. You'd rather them talk quietly. Okay, let's say. But that's their preference. Okay? It's not your job to change their preference. It's your job to honor your own preference. You just need to remember that. Then you just leave the rest. Okay, you just leave the rest. The things that are not your business, it's like, don't make it your business. So we want that to be really clear now. Does that make sense? So we don't want to give you a very long lecture today because that's not why we're here. We want to give you just a mini lecture, okay? A mini lecture. So as you go forth into the next journey of your life, you will absolutely be able to get to the point where your life also goes up exponentially. And if you don't know how that graph looks, you might want to do a Google search so you can print it out and see it and map it out. This is also going to be my life, exponentially going up. And with that, we'll complete for today, and we will see you hopefully very soon again. Yeah, everybody! How is it? I'm so happy to be here. So next we're going to invite Gabby. Where are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Here I am.
Let me unpin.
I'm so excited. I was just typing in the comments. But
I'm so glad you're typing.
I'm so ready.
I have no time to look at the comments. I'm sorry, everybody.
I am so ready to hit that critical point and go up.
Critical point.
That's so good. Such a good visual to hold on to. I love it.
Yeah, I think especially for you because you're good with like the charts.
Oh my God, you were totally speaking my language. I was like, yeah, exactly. I know exactly. And when you said critical point, I was like, there you go. You got me.
Well, thank you so much for coming. It's so nice to have you. It makes me so happy to see you here. So tell everybody what you do, how'd you end up coming to the guides, and what your journey has been.
So good. So I am Gabby. I am a former lawyer. I have a science background, which is why we were joking around about the graphs and everything that I really loved. And in between, I left my law job in 2015 when I had my first son, and I started a design business and transitioned about a year ago into coaching. I'm certified in rapid transformational therapy. So a mix of hypnotherapy, NLP, CBT. And I work with women entrepreneurs to help them overcome their subconscious blocks to success so that they can also reach their critical point and soar.
Yay! Okay.
Oh, and how did I connect with you?
Yes. Tell them how you end up here.
And so Solera and I we met in another group, and we did a call to just connect and get to know each other. And she told me about what she did. I told her about what I did. And so we worked together. And I got a session with the guides, and I remember telling her at the end, I was like, now I understand why Oprah has a spiritual advisor, because it is so powerful, and when you're not really used to, now I'm used to it, right? Like now I'm just used to the guides, and I'm like, Solera, I need a session. But that first session was really, really just blew my mind.
Yeah, actually they were like, okay, what you're thinking is just a tiny step. Let's move really fast forward to like the big step. What is your 100 step?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. And someone was commenting on the hearts. So when I came to Solera, I actually was at my business was really new
Yeah.
because I got certified in May. And so I think our first session was like June, May or June. And she was like, all right, what's your step 100? And I was like, oh, I want to launch a group program. And the guides are like, no, 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 no. That's your step 2. Like, what's your step 50? What's your step 100? And I think like seeing that group program as my step 2 was so illuminating for me, because I had been like, I would have stayed stuck in that space of like, I want one day, someday, someday I'll launch this, eventually I'm getting, I saw that as really like the end goal. And I think like taking a step back and expanding beyond that made it feel so small. And so I launched my group program that month.
Yeah.
And I had 25 people sign up, and so those hearts in the back, those are the people that are in it now. So it's
Yeah.
like you can
Like,
see, yeah, so many people. And that was really like the start was working with Solera. And so now there's like over 100 women.
yay! I know you did so well. You did so well.
Yeah. And so I had done all the hearts and put people's names as they signed up and stuff. But you can see, I mean, talk about exponential growth, right? And talk about the little steps. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
because
crazy.
the beginning was like, okay, let's just do a little bit of this, and
Hmm.
then and the guys kept pushing you. They were so
Yeah.
direct.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I've had a session, it's really been so fantastic. And it really is always exactly what I need to hear, but not what I expect that I need to hear.
Yeah. Like almost everybody says that, it's like, it's not
Hmm.
really what I want to hear. I don't feel like I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
And they have said, no, Gabby, you need to create like a long-term thing, make a container for everybody. This is your
Hmm.
jam. You're like a community builder. This is what you're good at.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
Yeah. And I remember at first, like, and they gave me that visual. They were like, you just need to imagine yourself like hugging a globe and like trusting that you can hold space for all those people. And it really helped, because as people were signing up, there was like just so many like signing up, signing up, signing up, signing up, signing up. And I just like kept imagining myself, I'm like, my arms are getting so long and I can just keep hugging everyone, It's just like, it's fine, it's gonna be fine. Like I just had that visual of myself like hugging the globe. And I was like, just keep them coming, like keep people coming in, like trusting that all the right people are signing up. And yeah, and I remember our second session, what really came up was like that long term, uh,
Yeah.
what's the word, commitment.
Yeah.
And after that, things like really shifted for me, because then after that session, I really moved into like multi 5-figure months,
Mhm.
and really and beyond.
Yeah, but I think it's also that you implement, right? Like there's what the guides would say to you, but I think the next step is also, it just depends on a student if they're willing to take that leap or not. And I think
Hmm.
it really just depends on the individual. Are you willing to
Yeah.
go there or not? Right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm always willing to go there. Like the guides tell me something, I'm like, right, perfect, jumping on it, and I'm doing it.
Do you have
And
any advice? Oh, I was gonna say, do you have any advice for people who are afraid to make the commitment?
who that to me I think was like the hardest one. But what I love about them is that they really give you like the kind of tangible steps about commitment, and when people think about commitment, we feel like it has to be so big, and it has to be like this huge show of commitment, and like this huge, like I'm gonna be, a lifetime program or whatever, or this is what I'm doing, and I'm deciding, and I'm putting it out there that this is who I am, and committing to this version of myself. And I think that what they taught me was that it's really like about the day-to-day kind of stuff, the decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis, right? Commitment within our family, commitment. I looked around, like after that call, I was like talking to my husband, and he was like, there's like, Gabby, there's like things are not hanging on our walls. Like it like brought to my mind like all, like we've lived in our house for 3 years. Like he's like, there's so many ways in which like that commitment isn't there. Like of course you don't feel grounded, right? Like, and I was like looking around, like, you're right, like things hang. So like we hung paintings, we hung things, and it was like all those small steps of commitment are what make the big difference in the long run.
Yeah, no, thanks for saying that because I think that's what they were trying to express. It's just like
Hmm.
those minor micro step of
Yeah,
showing the universe, this is who I want to be, right? This is who I'm
yeah,
becoming.
yeah. Yeah, and yeah, and even like committing to, okay, for me it was also like I felt very Solera, but it was like really committing to that trust. I was like, okay, like Money and I have been dancing for a long time, and like we need to go all the way. Like I'm buying a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes. Like tonight is the night. It's the third date. Like we are getting it on. Because for so long, I would just like hold Money and be like, oh, but what if for a rainy, like what if, what if and I was just like, I'm going to show this commitment. I'm committed to making more money. I'm committed to having, the income that I spend now get replaced. Right. I'm committed to practicing what I preach, basically.
Yeah, I think it's always hard to build that trust level. But I think it's not like this thing where like, oh, you're just gonna dive into some deep water and you're trusting without seeing where you're going. I think it's just like, okay, I trust here and I trust here and I trust here
Mhm.
and I trust here, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And when we talk about, really the foundation of so much is trust, and we're not taught from a really young age. And I think most of us are women here. We're really not taught to trust ourselves.
Yeah.
We're taught to trust our teachers. We're taught to trust our parents. We're taught that like basically everyone around us knows better than we know. And then we become adults that don't trust ourselves. And we, even worse, become adults that don't trust other people
Mhm.
because we rely on them for the wrong things.
Yeah.
We rely on them for the things that we should be relying on ourselves for. So we say things like, I'm always let down. I'm always, this, I'm always that. And it's really because we don't have that strong foundation of trust with ourselves. So we don't really know what trusting other people even looks like.
Yeah, that is so true. Because I think a lot of times people do have trust issues. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
what if they don't do what I think they're going to do, or they say they're going to do something that they don't do
Mm-hmm.
it for me. And
Yeah.
a lot of it, I think, is just like you're projecting.
Yeah, 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 of course. Yeah. Oh, so much of our, yeah, it's all projection. But we also project it onto like, trusting like source or the universe or money or whatever it looks like for us. I'm always let down. People say something like, I'm trying so hard and I'm always let down. And I think when you can kind of look at yourself and what are you trusting yourself with? Are you trusting yourself? Are you fully trusting yourself? Are you really, really letting go and trusting the universe? Are you really letting go and trusting other people? um, Life gets so much easier.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. So what would you say to someone who is like so afraid to work with the guys? Because it's like a new thing, right? It was new for you. And
Mhm.
especially you come
It
from a
was.
science
It
background.
was so new, and it's so funny because I actually didn't know when we had our first call. I really didn't know what you did, and so I said something like in passing. I was like, oh yeah, psychics, and then you're like, oh, huh. And then you're like, we're called channels these days, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like I had never met a channel. And then you kind of like explained it to me and you were like, I was like super novice and you're like, Abraham Hicks, that's channeled. And I was like, oh, I always thought he was like an old man that had written this like many, many years ago. So I had never read it because I'm very judgmental of like old men telling me what to do. So I was like, I'm not interested in Abraham Hicks and whatever he has to say. And you're like, no, and I was like, oh, well, now I'm into it. And I bought my kids like the Abraham Hicks for Kids book and everything. But I was like super, super novice. So I had no idea what to expect. And I think that honestly, it blew me away in so many ways because it was really practical and it was really related to the session was really, really related to everything that I wanted to know for myself, for my business, for all of like the practical kind of stuff. But then there was also that like bird's eye view of everything, which humans can't give you,
Yeah.
where very few people are going to be able to extract you from like your micro strategy and like your myopic view of everything that is going on in your life and the drama, like you say, which is essentially what it is. When we work with coaches, even the best coaches, we're human, we've got that drama, and so I think like having that bird's eye view, having them like then lift me up and be like, and on a bigger picture, this is what you need for your life because you're a human being, right? And I think that to me was probably for me, one of the most powerful parts.
Yeah, because they really have this ability to take you, just like zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know how they
Yeah.
do it, and I
Yeah.
see it sometimes like with the visuals that they give me. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they just zoom out. It's like okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're like on top of the building, looking down, and you get to see like the whole city,
Yeah.
not just
But they
like
also, yeah, and it's like, because they humor you. Like at the beginning, it's like, oh, right, right. Like you have this question. Okay, we'll give you like the really human answer for this issue that you have. But then we're going to take you out. We're going to pick you up and we're going to like lift you up here. So that you can now see this and see how small and insignificant it all is, you know? And it's really powerful to be able to have both views.
yeah. They I feel like sometimes like they're like okay, you have this minor question, we're gonna answer it, don't worry, and
Hmm.
then we're gonna show
Yeah.
you this real thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it kind of makes you realize like, and also a way of describing what you need to do in a way that almost calls you out without calling you out, like really getting to like the crux of it, you know, and not it's just interesting. It's interesting how it always really is like what you need to know about this.
Yeah, and but not always what you want to hear.
Right, right, right.
They do that to me all the time. I mean, I would
Yeah.
say like 90% of the times I don't want to hear what they have to say. I'm like, you guys are so
Hmm.
annoying. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have
Hmm.
to do this? You know?
Hmm.
But when you
Yeah, yeah.
actually
It's so
do, then it's like, okay, fine.
yeah. I always think of you. You're always like texting me. You're like the guides are being super annoying, and they're making me do this thing. It's just so funny.
Yeah, because it is like sometimes when they offer ideas, it's like on Tuesday we had one of my students what came on, and she's already someone who's making seven figures. She's like, oh, so how do I get to like the $3 million mark?
Mhm.
The guy's like, no, it's such a small goal, you know.
Yeah.
And they just kind of like, no, you need to think like 10 million loosely, like loosely
Hmm.
in that
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah. Yeah. And which is what you need to do really to like move forward. Because if you don't have that, I think sometimes, you know, when we have, we just get myopic as humans, right? We just get really, really close minded and we don't even realize like how much we're not tapping into our limitlessness until we have it presented to us like this.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Because like you just see what you see, and it's like
Mhm.
usually give me like this analogy of you just see like the street that you're on, you see the buildings that are next to you, so that's like your view. Like your view is
Mhm.
this much, like you
Yeah.
said, it's myopic. But they're kind of standing at the top of the mountain, so they really see kind of all possible paths for you. For
Mhm.
them, it's like just pick one. They always say that, and it's like very annoying sometimes to me. I'm like, stop telling people that,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. In one of the sessions that I had, they were like, right, there were once upon a time a few paths in front of you, and you picked one that's great. It was a great path for you to pick, so now you can just continue on that. And I was like, what were the other paths? Like that, it was like that commitment session. I was like, what were the other paths? What did I miss? Like, what had the other paths been? How far back? How far back could I have chosen another path? Like, can I still look back and choose another? You know, it's like you get like in your head, yeah, the FOMO. But they were like, right, you just picked a path and that's great. Now just continue down that path and keep picking that path. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm thinking about
Yeah.
all these
But I
other things.
mean, look at all the stickers on your wall.
Yeah, look at all the stickers. I picked the path. I got so many heart post-its.
Yeah, in case people didn't know, those are all sign-ups for her program.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah, Jess and Jesse are like, yeah, that FOMO would get me too. Yeah, it is. It's funny. But then you think about it and you're like, right, this is, and it's just been, you know, in terms of like happiness, I feel like my happiness level is so high because when you put things in perspective and you kind of realize that all of the things that we tell ourselves matter so much, right?
Yeah,
Like once you can take a different view on it, like even like, you know, having so many people signing up for a program or whatever, like it doesn't mean what I thought that it would mean.
mm,
Like it's just so different getting there and doing it. It's so different than like what I thought. There's no attachment to it, you know. It's really only like joy and enjoyment and fun essentially.
Yeah, and I think that's the essence, right, of
Mhm.
what everyone
Yeah.
wants to get to. But you think
Yeah.
you're going to only get there, like you think you're only going to have the happiness after you get to some place.
Mhm.
But it's like all these little things that you're actually you need to kind of fill yourself up with. And then once you get there, it's like, oh, okay, here's the next thing,
Mhm.
right? It's like
Yeah.
the natural extension of that next thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Jess wants to know, do the guides think there's a right path for each soul, or is it just the one we pick and we find the lessons within it?
oh, I would ask that. Good question, Jazz. Okay, I'll
But
ask.
also, yeah, and also like based on the answers, it feels like based on like what they've told us, it seems like there's like not really so much like a right path, right?
Yeah.
That there's like so many ways to kind of fulfill your soul contract, whatever that looks
I
like.
think so, because like the way they, at least the way they say to me and a lot of students, like, okay, pick a path, then that becomes your calling.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have picked a different path and that would have become your calling. So it's not like a set thing. They always say there's no destiny in the sense like you have to do this in your life and
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to be like happy and fulfilled and all the stuff. And I agree. It's not about this like destiny thing. Like I am supposed to be a writer in life, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And also if you
yeah,
think about like I think that changes. Like back in the days, I think with my parents, they have like one job and they have their like one job forever, right? But now it's like you change every 5 years, every 10 years. So your path
mm-hmm.
really can change depending on just what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, especially nowadays. And I think like with technology and everything, and this is what I love. Another kind of like important point is that I think that we're going to continue seeing such an uptick in spirituality and coaching and all of these things because the way that we are evolving as humans, as people, with the aid of technology is so fast. Like we've hit that critical point as a species,
Mhm.
right? Where we are learning all of these things, where we are really channeling all of these higher messages, where we are activating our DNA in a way that is speeding up evolution so quickly that there's no way for our brain to keep up without assistance.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
There's
I,
no way to like fully keep up with everything that is changing without tapping into source.
yes, tapping into source. So,
Mm-hmm.
so what would you choose to say to someone if they were to consider the Council Billionaires? Because you've heard all about it. You were like the first person that I told. The guys just
Yes.
told me to do something super crazy.
Yes, yes. And I would say, and I was the one that told you, I was like, people, because you were like, oh, the investment. I was like, people invest in this all the time, right? But we think about it all wrong. People easily invest this in college, right? College courses. People easily invest in another degree that maybe they don't need, but they're not sure. They take out loans, they do this, they do that. But when it comes to the investment in your business, you're going to get such bigger results, right? Or your business or your life or whatever, right? It's all about rethinking our idea of growth and rethinking our idea of achievement and everything else, right? And in the grand scheme of things, it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself to have that growth and that expansion. And I really think that the way that things are moving now, I really think that that expansion is so necessary to really take advantage of everything that's coming, everything that's in store for the next few years, decades, whatever. You need to have that upgraded thinking and you need to fast track your way there.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that's definitely their intention, right? When it comes to Council Billionaire, really
Yeah.
for people to upgrade their yes wealth container, but that wealth container, like once you build that wealth container, you're doing
Yeah.
it not just for yourself, but you're actually doing it for the whole planet. Like you're really
Yeah.
going to shift on a global scale and redistribute that wealth, not just like
Mm-hmm.
oh money is in the hands of like a few people, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that just the way like the way that money is evolving, it's the currency is shifting so quickly that the way that we think of it, like even with Bitcoin, if you even think about like just Bitcoin and what Bitcoin has done for like our concept of currency, how fast currency can appreciate, how fast it can drop, like all of these like fluctuations and stuff. When we grew up, it was like, you want money, all right, I'm going to hand it out. Like the treasury printed X amount of money a year. our concept of money and what we've grown up with is so different than what it is today. And without doing the work, without, you know, doing this work, there's no way to upgrade our thinking fast enough to take advantage of it and to actually propel the change that we want to see.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Oh, I so appreciate you, Gabby.
I so appreciate you. No, really, like I feel like you've changed my life so much, and I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, well, I feel the same. We're like
Mhm.
sisters.
Yeah, yeah. And even having your friendship has been so special. So,
Oh, I feel the same. Thank you so much. Okay, so maybe I'll just answer one last question from, and I'll ask, I can totally answer Jeff's question, which is there a right path or is it, just infinite? So hold on, I'll invite them. Okay, so great question, and we will clarify. There is the right path. We're going to articulate this for you a little bit. There is a right path in the sense that there's a right path for the soul. It does not mean a job. Okay, let us just clarify. Path is not a job. But there is the right path for the soul because you come with a curriculum already pre-planned in some ways, not like filled with details. And the curriculum is not saying you have to have this job or you have this person as your spouse and this. It's not quite like this, okay? But the curriculum is more like these are a set of challenges you might want to experience. And you're here to learn the lessons of compassion. You're here to learn the lessons of self-love. You're here to learn the lessons of being understanding to each other. Maybe those are the lessons. And they're very general, right? They seem vague for the human mind. What does that even mean? But your soul has decided, I'm going to pick certain circumstances for me to experience. What does it mean to have compassion for myself? What does it mean to have compassion for other people? Let's say you are someone who, let's say you have no boundaries. What does it mean to have set healthy boundary for myself? What does it mean for me to love myself? What does it mean to, we just said, honor your preferences? So you will have that kind of like an outline mapped out. So in a way, there's a correct path. If you are able to use this lifetime to reach the understanding, right, of what it means to love myself, what it means to be compassionate with myself or with compassionate with other people, what it means to really honor other people, honor myself. If you sort of, quote unquote, pass the test, then basically you've done the correct path, okay? Is it set in stone? No. And if you fail, it sounds really bad. Oh no, I just failed my lifetime. Lots of people fail their lifetime because some of these lessons are hard to learn. So it's not a big deal that you don't pass in lifetime. It's like, oh, it's like playing Game Boy when you're little. You try to like, hit the mushroom, and you're trying to like get all these points. You try to beat the monster at the end and then you die. Okay, you like fell off the cliff. Like the little Mario brother just fell off into the cliff. And then you're like, oops, you do it again, round two. You play and play and play and play. So lifetime is kind of like a game. So in the sense that, yes, there is a path for you. But is a path a job? No, you could pick many different kinds of jobs. But the jobs, it doesn't matter what you pick, would trigger you to learn those lessons. It's like the saying, some people, they date lots of different people, but they end up dating like the same person. It's like the same. Like every time they get rid of one, they get another one, it's like the same. It's because they haven't overcome whatever the block is. They haven't overcome sort of their limitations around relationship. So they find the same guy, same girl over and over and over and over, which is the whole concept of playing the game over and over and over again to learn that next lesson. So yes, there's a correct path. Are you expected to be successful and succeed on this path? No, you're not expected. But you designed it yourself. Your soul designed it, this path. Okay, I'm going to pick these parents. This is going to be like my starting point, and I'm going to struggle like this. Let's see how it goes. And then the rest you just kind of fill in. It's like filling, it's like coloring in the coloring book. Solera does this like all day. She just like has a little coloring book and she fills it in. The outline is already there. But whether you choose pink or blue or yellow and green, that's up to you. Okay? You choose the colors in your life. No one chooses the colors. You choose the colors. Okay? So you can have a life full of beautiful colors. Or you can just smush the whole thing with black and gray and dark brown. Yeah? And those are the negative feelings. Those are the negative emotions. You can smush the whole thing. Use a big crayon, all black. And you end up looking at the little picture. You're like, oh, that doesn't look very nice. What happened is, at some point, there's certain people who haven't learned a lesson. They scribble the entire page with black and gray and dark brown. There's no more space. Okay, they fill the whole page with just black. There's no more space. Well, then you gotta have a new page. Yeah, you gotta turn the book, just try again on a new page. Well, that new page will be in the next lifetime. Does that make sense? Then you have your second page to color. This time, hopefully, you're gonna choose pink and yellow and green and blue, all these fun colors, and make it fun. And then you make a beautiful collage and put whatever colors you want on it. Okay? You can design it, even though the coloring page usually has an outline of a picture of something. It could be a cat, a dog, a house, whatever. Right? So yes, there is an outline for your life, but it's not centered around a spouse or being a parent or having a job. It's not at all. But the situation would trigger that lesson. So are you going to learn the lessons of self-love? Are you going to learn the lessons of compassion or not? And if you don't, you just do it again. You just do it again. You just do it again. That's why you feel really frustrated sometimes, but that's what the game is. Okay? We're just being very direct. This is the game. Whether you like it or not, this is the game. Okay? You decided that you want to come back here. Okay? No one decided that for you. You decided yourself you want to play this game. So there's no blame. Okay? No blame. So then the second part is, well, so does that mean that my life is kind of just like a collage? I can pick any career? Yes, of course you can pick any career. It's like when people talk about career, it's like saying, it's like they're asking us, should I pick pink or should I pick green for this section of the coloring page? We say, we don't know. Do you like pink or do you like green? Is it up to us to say you should have to pick pink instead of green? No, right? We don't care. You could be a janitor or you could be a CEO, but from our perspective, they're equal. They're not like this thing where in your life you see someone who's a CEO way more important than someone who's a janitor. But you have to recognize your financial system, your economic system is controlled by a few people. Okay, and it's been like this for a long time. The whole you can say the whole system is rigged, okay, by just a few people. Really just a few people. There are people who are trillionaires in this world. You just don't know who they are. So they control that. They don't want you to break out of the financial system that you have. They really don't. And so it's been passed on like this, and people have been brainwashed on a subconscious level. Everybody has been brainwashed on a subconscious level. This is why now there's new economic system coming, right? And there's all these decentralized currencies. So it's all new, and it's like kind of scary, and no one knows what's going on. It's because the system is now, it's like the system is now going up and down, and it wants to break out of the old system. So it's very important, we say, for all of you to have mastery over the energy of money. It's absolutely important that you have money, because when you have money, you understand that energy. You're not afraid of it. You would just become a master at it, what we taught you, right? Having mastery over your life. And you have mastery over the energy of money. You can then contribute to the world. And you see, I'm the person who's going to contribute and help push the direction of humanity on the correct path. The path that is filled with love and understanding and equality and fairness, which is what everybody wants, yes? But it's not like this right now. This is why we are channeling through Solera. She is a very reluctant channel, very reluctant. She's reluctant every single day, okay? So, but she has agreed a long time ago that she was going to play this game. So we're channeling this information so that you have a really, it's like you have a really strong understanding of why you're here, why it's important for you to have mastery over your life. Because once you have mastery over your life, you will become one of those shining lights out in the world that can really help other people and show them their path. But if you're kind of down under and you're struggling in whatever it is that you're struggling and you're mired in your own drama, then it's like you can't even come up for water. How are you going to save someone else who's drowning? You can't, right? Like you have to become someone who's sufficient, good enough at swimming to be a lifeguard. Then someone's drowning, you can go jump into the water, save them. But if you can't swim, you're not going to be able to save someone who's drowning. So it's the same when it comes to wealth. It comes to the financial system. So it's very outdated in that sense that at some point, eventually, when you reach to a consciousness level where you just don't need money anymore, let's say everyone has a baseline income where you just literally you're just taking care for life, then you will no longer need that that power struggle, and you will no longer be judging someone, and someone will still choose to be a janitor and someone will still choose to be a CEO, but now that role is equal. It would be exactly the same. It would not be what you think, oh, that's an important job and this is not an important job. Right? This is why you ask the questions the way you ask us. Oh, what is like my greatest path? How do I make myself really good and great and grand? All these adjectives. But really, it's the same no matter what you actually do. This is why we always say pick one, because it really doesn't matter. It's like pick a color, put it on a coloring page. We don't care if it's green or blue or purple or yellow. It's just whatever color you like. So have some perspective, people, okay? This is what we're trying to tell you. Don't make your career into a really big thing. Don't make your marriage into a really big thing. Don't even, like your children, they have their own path. You can't really even control your kids, okay? They're gonna grow up and they're gonna have their own challenges and you just do your best. Really, the best is you give them shelter, you give them love. That's really sufficient. And they're gonna go have to figure out their own path in life, just like you are figuring out your own path in life. So just really understand that yes, there is a correct path for the soul. There really is. But is there judgment whether you pass or you fail? Not really. You get a million chances and more, okay? The game is never over. But the direction in terms of the consciousness of humanity, you're moving into a direction where eventually you just pick anything that you like and you will not have to struggle for money. But in order to get to that point where you are as a whole, as a species, you're at kind of that critical point. Okay, this is why people like Solera are being asked to do this kind of work, which is a bit unconventional, you would say, right? It's not exactly a nice job title on your resume to be a channel. So the thing is, it's important that we activate all of you. Okay, we activate all of you to tap into your next level greatness, just as Gabby has gone on her path. Really, she just needed a little bit of push, just a tiny bit. Just go there. And that was it. And then she just followed through. So it's the same for everyone. Okay, some people might need a lot of push, like Solera. Some people just need a little bit of push. Okay, so the amount of pushing is sort of, varies. But we're activating you through the work that we're doing here and now because we want you to have a greater level of consciousness and rise to have the position in what you call social status or income level that you actually can do physical changes in the world. Does that make sense? We want you to have wealth. We want you to have actually what you would consider as power, whether it's political power, personal power, economic power, so that you can start to shape the things that you like. Oh, I really don't like to see that. Why are people abusing like this group of people? I really don't like to see that. Why are they abusing like these trees? I really don't like to see that. Why are these people abusing these animals? I don't like to see that. I'm going to change that. But when you are in that position of power, which is why we designed it, the Council of Billionaires, why we asked Solera to go forth and put it out there, it's for that reason. Okay, so you have to sort of ask yourself, am I the kind of person who wants to step into that leadership role to be that next level leader that global leader? And if the answer is yes, then you're like, okay, I think this is the path for me. This is what I want to do. And if not, then that's fine. Remember, we don't judge you no matter where you are. You're the one who's judging. This is better. This is not as good. Okay? So just remove what you think is good and what you think is bad and what you think is good enough or not good enough. It's important that you really honor where your own path is and just recognize, okay, I am ready. I feel that I'm ready to be that person. And this is where my heart is. I feel that I want to be someone who is a leader who can change, shape, mold the world. Okay? It's sort of like we're calling on leaders. You can be a leader starting being a leader in your home front, right? We've taught you all these things in these past couple of days. You can start being a leader in your home front with yourself. And then you take a step bigger. Now I want to be a leader in my own circle, in my own community. Now you're going to take a step even further. Now I'm going to start to reach out to more people and be a leader to all those people as well. So you just start to merge and you grow and you grow and you expand. You're like, yeah, I see that. This is my path in life. I'm interested in being a leader. A light leader, right? To put it vaguely. But practically, we just explained it to you. Practically, you're literally shifting, dismantling the existing economic, political structure, which is completely based on fear. It was built based on fear and control. It was meant to be that way. Okay? And so you don't realize it. You think you're just getting up, having your coffee, going to your job, you come home to kids, you go to bed. But you're part of that system. It's like the movie Matrix. You're part of that system still. You're literally in the Matrix, just like the movie, right, metaphorically showed you. And so it's like the blue pill, red pill thing. Do you want to choose? Which one are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the one that says, yes, I'm ready to jump in to the rabbit hole and take up that role where I'm going to be the person that holds that flashlight so that everybody else can start to see where they're going? This is why we're doing this. This is why we're asking Solera to do all of this work. Right? None of this is easy for her or pleasant for her. Okay. Sometimes she's like, oh, you're making me making me do so much work. Well, yes, it's so much work right now. And it's so much work in some ways for you as well. And we are asking a lot. Okay, we're asking you to really step it up. Okay, that's what we're saying. But we're asking because you, as a species, remember we showed you the graph, you're at that critical point where you can exponentially rise up together as humanity. So the question is, are you willing to participate or not? Okay. So we made it really clear when we had said to Solera, we want to build a council of billionaires. By the way, we think we're so smart for creating that title, don't you think? So it's really is to activate your wealth codes, which is already, it's dormant. In fact, your DNA has all these codes that would activate 100% healing, activate, love, activate all these, basically all the good stuff that you say you want in life. It's already in there, okay? So part of it is just dormant. You haven't activated them. And so your consciousness is like maybe just at 20% capacity. You've got 80% more to go. And that's not a judgment. It's just you have so much more room to expand into. Okay. This is why when the student who came to us and asked if she wanted to grow through 1 million, we said, no, that's a very small number. It should be 10 million at least for where you are. We weren't really joking. Okay. And that could be easily possible for all of you. Okay. Very easily possible for all of you. It's really, you have to say, yes, I'm ready to go to the next level. This is me. I feel that this is who I am becoming, and I'm ready for that. And I'm willing to do the work, right? The work is not gruesome long hours. Okay? The work is your consciousness work. This is the work that we're always talking about, okay? If you do the consciousness work, The other work is a lot simpler. Really, a lot simpler. Solera, actually, she was sick the entire week, the week before this. She had a fever, she had a sore throat, she was on her bed, she was sick. She was like, oh my gosh, and I have an event coming up next week. I don't know what I'm going to do. But things just came together. People helped her. And then there were all these little pieces that moved in alignment. She worked maybe just like 10 minutes a day because that was all she could handle. But here's all of you watching this. Like because it's not about hard work. Yes, there are things to be done. But does it take 10 hours a day? Not necessarily if you're in the right alignment. She was like, I want to have like 100 people. And yes, 100 people signed up. It was not a lot of work. But it took a consciousness shift. So it's true for all of you. We want you to recognize every time we give you an example, we're speaking to you. Okay? We're not speaking to someone else. We're speaking to you individually. Because that person within, remember the greatest version of who you are, he or she is waiting to step forward. Okay? He or she is waiting to come out. Hey, come on, open the door. Open the door. Open the door. It's just knocking, really knocking at your door. So we say, are you ready to open it or not? We cannot make you open the door. Okay? We can tell you the door is ready to be open. Who decides whether the door is going to be open? You. No one decides that. It has to be you. Okay, we cannot make that decision for you. So we invite all of you to consider joining us on this next path, which we've laid out for Solera. But the path is a path that you choose. Always it's about you. It's never about someone else. And it's about you and your role in this life. Remember, we just talked about there's no specific job that you need to take at all. If you just shift the way you think about your life, things can change very rapidly for all of you. So, are you ready to get on the ride? It's like we're saying, here, we're giving you a free ticket to Disney World. Would you like to come? You're like, no, that's really scary. I hate mouse. I really hate mouse. Really, this is literally how some people are. Okay. We say, hey, come to Disney World. We're taking you on an adventure. No. Right? It's because they're looking at it from a completely different point of view, completely skewed. We want you to become the person with clear vision in your mind. Because when you have clear vision in your mind, you will be able to have clear vision manifested out into your life. And then the miracles, the surprises, the wonderful surprises will start to come. Because the universe will start to fill the gaps for you. You won't have to do all the work. Okay. But remember, this was lesson number 1. Are you in alignment or not? It always goes back to this question. We're here to help you to be in alignment, but whether you decide that you want to be in alignment, we cannot control that at all. We can offer you the buffet, and then you can say, I want to take it. Or you can say, I'm not ready. I just don't want to eat the buffet. No, thank you. And either way, it's fine. Okay, there's no judgment whether you're ready to join the buffet. But remember, the buffet is right here. And we invite you to join the buffet. And with that, we complete. We say, great job. And please pat yourself on the shoulder and tell yourself, I did really good just for showing up. And I honor who I am every single day as I grow into the next greatest version of who I am. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Well, it's been such a wonderful 3 days that I spent with all of you. And I am so grateful that you all came live. Some of you had to get up very early or stay up late. So thank you so much for that. And let me copy and paste the Council Billionaire information here. Feel free to schedule a call with me if you feel called, and I look forward to speaking with you. Okay, I wish I can give you a big hug. Okay, I love you, and take care. All right. Thank you for watching. If you're ready to access extraordinary wealth and become the next global leader, then I invite you to go to councilofbillionaires.com and schedule a call with me. I look forward to discussing what's possible for you.